All right, so here are a few common job interview questions. To prepare for your interview, consider your answers to some common questions in advance. Below are five that are just pretty much um, more or less every job will ask you some form of these questions, and you can definitely guarantee that they're going to start off with, "Can you tell me a little bit about yourself?" Right? What are your greatest strengths and weaknesses? Strengths is an easy one. Weaknesses is one a little people kind of struggle with. Why do you want this position? Why are you leaving your current job? And why should the company hire you? Right. And in the interviews I've had, I've definitely been asked variations of these questions. And in the interviews that I've done, I've always asked variations of these questions. Right. These are just general. Again, if you want to get more specific, run the job posting, run your resume through ChatGPT, and then ask it to create some specific questions that they may ask you in the interview. Right. So, can you tell me a little bit about yourself? Interviewers often start with this question to learn about your background. So, when you answer this, try beginning by mentioning where you are now. Briefly explain how you're going to advance your current position. And by taking this tactic, you can establish your professional history and emphasize the most important aspects. Right. So, for this question, it seems like it would be just kind of a home run for most people. Tell me about yourself. Most people feel like, hey, I just knocked this out of the park. But some people can go very wrong with this, right? I've had people who just kind of ramble on for like 20 minutes, just telling you about their life and their husband's life and their kids' life. And, that's not really what people want to hear when they ask this. So the best way to do this is kind of talk a little bit about what your work history is, a little bit, right? And then talk about what you're currently doing, and then talk about how this current the job you're applying for will tie into your future goals, right, or to your life. And so this is a good way to do this. So currently I am working as or um, I in the past, I have about 10 years of education experience, and this is very general, right? I'm not giving a lot of specifics. I have 10 years in education. I'm currently working as a lead for an adult instruction team, and I plan to move on to higher education, where I've been wanting to work in for a while, and that really appeals to me, and I could be very impactful, right, in this field. And so again, you're kind of talking about what you did, what you do, and what you want to do. And yeah, don't go on too much about this one. You should probably answer it in about a minute and a half, maybe. You don't want to over um, speak unless you're asked to kind of elaborate on certain things. So here's another example. Currently, I'm a junior personal trainer. So, what it is I'm doing right now, I have 25 recurring clients. In my 3 years as a fitness instructor, I have learned certifications in yoga, Pilates, allowing me to specialize in these rapidly growing areas. Because I maintain a full client roster, I've also taken online sales courses. As a fitness enthusiast, I am also highly motivated and driven to share my excitement for health and well-being with my clients. Right. So I think right now I mentioned talk about your past and start with your current, right? Where you're talking about the present, and then talk a little bit about the past, and then talk about what you want to do in the future. Right. What are your strengths and weaknesses? Employers are going to ask this about your strengths and weaknesses to learn more about the areas where you excel at, and the other ones where you could improve. When you respond to your best technical and soft skills, um, when you mention your best technical and soft skills, right? When they ask you about your strengths, that's an easy part, right? You kind of want to highlight what it is that you're great at. But the harder part is, what are your weaknesses? For this one, you don't want to say something like, "Oh, I like to get drunk at work and fight my coworkers." Right? There is no coming back from that. If that is your weakness and you kind of just and you said that to someone, then yeah, you're pretty much not going to get that job. Right? But if you mention something where you've already taken steps to improve, then that is going to you're highlighting a weakness, but you're also showing that, hey, I and again, let me mention this. They want to know about your weaknesses, not to put you down, but to make sure that you realize you are not perfect, right? You're not this work of perfection. You want to show them that, yeah, I realize I'm self aware enough to realize I'm weak in this certain part, and make sure it's not something that's really important to the role, right? If your job is a community engagement, don't say something like, I don't like talking to people, right? Because that is not going to get you anywhere. So make sure it is a weakness that is not going to really be too impactful in the job, but also shows that you're working towards improving yourself, right? That you're taking steps to improve that weakness. Using this strategy allows you to kind of put a positive spin on a question that can potentially bring you down, right? So an example of this is, after 7 years of working in web design, I mastered technical skills like visual design and user experience. Combined with my natural ability to solve problems and think analytically, these skills give me the power to work seamlessly with my clients. However, during my first year of working in web design, I realized that I was not communicating clearly enough with clients, often resulting in extra work for me and frustration for my clients. I researched the techniques for improving written and verbal communication, and as a result, I've improved my productivity by 15%, right? So it's kind of like giving you the situation, and this is almost like the STAR method too, right? The situation, the task. But what they say right here is that their weakness was communication. They realized that, right? They were aware enough to realize that, and then they worked to improve those things, and they actually give a number as to how much their productivity has increased, and that's 15%. Right. So, definitely a good way to highlight something that could potentially be negative. So, why do you want this position? Hiring teams include this question in interviews to determine how well you understand the job and the company, right? So, I've been a career coach before, and I've had people ask me, or I've had job applications come in and the person is like an athletic coach, right? That just shows me this person did not even read the job description. They just kind of filled out as many applications and sent them all out there. As soon as I realized that, I just kind of throw away the resumes, because I realize they really didn't put in any effort, and they really don't know what this role is about. Right. So when you receive this question, this is your opportunity to demonstrate how much you research the organization and the job opening. In your answer, try mentioning the company's mission or accomplishments and the unique opportunities that the position offers, right? So an example of that would be, the role aligns well with my experience and future goals. After working in a supervisory retail sales position for 3 years, I am adequately prepared to advance to a managerial role in the field. I'm enthusiastic about the management and financial skills I can acquire through this position. And I'm excited about working for an accomplished company that frequently exceeds its quarterly sales goals by 10% or more. Right. So this question is showing that this person researched the role, they know what they're looking for, and that they research and they know exactly like how the sales are doing, right? And so this is a good example of someone who put in the effort and shows that they want that job or that position. So why are you leaving your job? This one is a potential minefield, right? You got to be careful how you answer this one. Employers often want to know why you are planning to transition out of your current role in the pursuit of a new position. When you answer this, do not, under any circumstances, get negative about your current job or company. Avoid that at all costs, because what they see is that if you're willing to badmouth your current company, if you end up leaving the one you're applying to, then chances are you are going to badmouth them on the way out, right? And no company wants to get badmouthed by a former employee. So try to find the most courteous, respectful, diplomatic way to let them know that you're not trying to run away from something, you're trying to move towards something better, right? So make sure you do not go negative on this. Focus on the positive aspects, such as, I'm not really getting too much growth where I'm at right now. Or I guess even that is a little bit negative. Don't say that part. Say more like, "Oh, I want to grow, I want to expand," right? And this company lines up with that. And so, or looking for a greater challenge, definitely something to think about rather than going negative. And so, an example here is, I have spent 8 years developing my sales skills in my current company, and I'm ready to move into management. I hope to find a position in a new company where I can use my current skills while growing and managing a team of effective salespeople. Right. So, definitely nothing negative about this. This is just saying, I want to grow, I want to develop, I want to improve my skills. And it's definitely a lot better than trashing your current company. So, why should the company hire you? Interviewers may ask this question, direct question, to prompt you to explain why you're the best candidate. So remember, y'all, that you are going to be competing against several other people depending on the role. right? Sometimes it's 100 people, sometimes it could be 1,000 people, sometimes even more than that, depending on too whether you're using Indeed or LinkedIn or going straight to the company employment page, right? You can have a lot of competition. So you have to decide and you have to strategize about how you're going to communicate that you are the best amongst all the competition. In your response, try emphasizing your skills, experience, and accomplishment while explaining how well your objectives fit with the company's goals, right? So you always want to make sure you're walking that fine line between advocating for yourself and not coming off as too arrogant or cocky, right? Because that's one thing that will turn companies off really quickly, is coming across as an arrogant or cocky person, because it shows you may not work well with the team. Right. So make sure that you walk that line between showing that you are the best, but not getting a little too overconfident. So, an example here is I am passionate about the marketing field and have taken steps to improve my skills and reach increasingly higher goals throughout my career. During 10 years in the field, I have advanced from a junior marketing role to a marketing manager position. Also, my objectives align well with the company's mission to give back to the community while practicing smarter marketing.